So अभी जो हम session कर रहे हैं, that is an amazing panel discussion. The topic for the panel discussion is coffee, code and compounding. Reimagining wealth for investors, MFDs and clients in 2026. Let's introduce the next panel.
So I would like to welcome Mr. Ram Mohan Bhave, ex-independent director, chairman, LIC Mutual Fund Trustee Company, faculty and consultant in AI. Mr. Bhave, give him a big round of applause, please. Ms. Suranjana Bor Thakur, head of distribution and strategic alliances, Merai Asset Mutual Fund. जरा जोरदार ताली बजाइए, अभी तो भांगड़ा किया आपने. Ms. Aparna Shankar, CIO at The Wealth Company. आपने फाउंडर को सुन लिया, अभी आप CIO को सुनिए. गीतांजलि सचवानी, Vice President and Head of Marketing at Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund. Mr. Krishna Sanghvi, CIO, Equities, Mahindra Manum Life Mutual Fund. And the moderator of the panel, Mr. Romit Bharat, Executive Director, American Academy of Financial Management. Over to you, Romit.
Thank you. Please have a seat.
Oh, thank you so much. So, thank you, Alpa, for doing this blockbuster show. So when this topic was given to me, which was a 3C, coffee, compounding and code, which is a 3C, I asked my son that what could be the best alternatives. He told me, Papa, it could be 3Cs, convince, confuse and corrupt. मैंने उसको पूछा, what is this? बोला नहीं, whenever you try to convince somebody, if he's not convinced, confuse him, and if he's not confused, then corrupt him. So the alternative version of 3C to a Gen Z is convince, confuse and corrupt. So thank you all very much. So we'll try to keep this conversation slightly focused on what is the purpose and what is the effective of coffee. Coffee is basically, we try to relate coffee with human relationships, which is one of the prime pillars of our business. The second C, which is code. Code is basically an attempt to understand what is the impact of technology. And the third, which is compounding, is obviously the investing. So obviously, we have a very bright and very sharp panel here. So my first questions to Suranjana and Aparna, you can take it in sequence. If we imagine a triangle, and the three corners of triangle being coffee, code, and compounding, which one do you think is normally missing in the distribution business to the financial advisors? Anybody?
So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Alpa ji, for having me here. I think very interesting topic we have. I feel that any business, when we start, probably trust is the biggest factor which is required, right? Which is we are trying to say through the medium of coffee. So I was, I've been talking to a lot of MFDs where I feel that everybody is talking about getting new investors. A lot of times, it may actually be about talking to the optimum number of customers, not just getting any investor. And in this digital age when a lot of people want to start investing, it's also about choosing the investor probably. So when you are doing that, knowing their dreams and what the goals that we've been discussing about, actually knowing why they're investing becomes probably the most important pillar. The code part, the technology part, maybe the fact that, one part is that as the businesses are scaling, a certain amount of standardization is also becoming important. And also the fact that now starting from a KYC to a transaction to a analytics to everything, technology is required in one side. The other part is also the fact that today this burst of new investors or the next generation of investors who are coming in, a great way of connecting through them is probably the digital medium. So that's also a role which probably technology is playing. So that's the second pillar probably. And the third pillar, what you asked, the missing piece is usually probably the compounding. Maybe also because it is the most quiet part, the most silent part of it. There is no tangible way of seeing this. It speaks for itself over a longish period of time. So it takes its own time to, come out. So probably that is the piece I feel to actually be able to get the essence out of the compounding journey is the most important probably for the business to be successful in long term.
Aparna, your...
Yeah, thank you, Alpa, and thank you for, such a wonderful audience we have, and I think they are all knowledgeable. And thank you for this coffee compounding and, very different way of looking at it. I feel coffee is what, what is that coffee? Coffee, when you think about coffee, there are a lot of things which go into coffee. And there is a process which takes the beans through the grind. I think the mutual fund industry, I have been part of the mutual fund industry for almost 36 years now. And I have seen there are some phases which have a sort of fatigue setting in. I feel you need coffee to keep yourself energized, the way we have a first brew of coffee in the morning and you have it almost every day. So you need to be motivated yourself or maybe energized yourself enough to go again to the same or maybe new clients, but with the same zeal and same noble thought or noble service, what we are into, that, service the customers to help them to generate wealth. I think that is a long-term story, long-term journey. And no fatigue is, you should not have a fatigue or, kind of an inertia setting into your journey. I think that is what sometimes I feel it is missing, because as Suranjana said, that the focus may be at point of time to acquire new clients, which is not wrong. But there is also a need to keep servicing in a better way the existing clients. As we say, there is an organic way of growth and there is an inorganic way of growth, and both are important. I think somewhere when I am traveling for so many cities now, I feel that those who are established are little lacking on that kind of a zeal.
So Suranjana, for you compounding is missing, for her coffee is missing. Sir, I'll come to you, Ave sir. So you have relationships, technology and investment. You have been long. Which one do you think is the most important out of these three?
I think that's a very interesting question, because when we start with coffee, nowadays what is required is e-coffee, because I see people here from Nasik, Jalgaon, Dhule, Ahmedabad. So the conversation has to be e. So the coffee alone, may not be directly servable. As far as the code is concerned, I will give a little biased answer, because I'm pretty fan of code. And if you want to have a conversation with more people, today the importance of AI is so important that if you implement AI, then you will get a huge time for conversation. In fact, during the break, I met one person who shifted from Jalgaon to Nasik because they had 7,000 people required to be coffee and marriage attending and everything. So excess of coffee time can be made available only if you have code. And compounding, of course, comes with the trust. And then, when you do a conversation, it makes a lot of meaning for the person to develop a trust. Like we saw somebody calling Alpa ji as an elder sister. Rather, I will call her a younger sister. Because, the way conversation she does, and she has motivated all of us here to come, is obviously coffee makes a lot of sense. All in all, I would say, to summarize, the priority will go for code, because that will ensure that we get time for coffee and compounding. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Krishna, I'll come to you. In fact, this is very similar to what we asked to Suranjana and to Aparna also. So, in reality, which is out of these three C, which is often missed out deliberately? Which is, what are the, out of these three, which one typically is missed out by the distributor?
So I think I really don't know about deliberately or not, but I think typically the compounding is missed out. My own sense, being on the investment side, interacting with many of you, not only here present, but across the country, I think that comparison word takes over the mind of many of the distributors. And in that, relative race, relative comparison world, you actually end up compounding, being, compromised. Other challenge possibly, which, controls that compounding is actually conviction. I mean, come to think of it, I see many of you in this forum, as well as across the industry, who've been actually engaged in this, profession of mutual fund distribution, maybe much before I entered the place, right? I see some of you equally capable, I mean, much stronger than many of the fund managers in communicating your conviction about markets. Some of you have seen it all, right? You were possibly seen Y2K crash or GFC or 2013 crash, whatever. And I'm sure each of you can actually convince your customers about that, the conviction of equity markets and the ability to compound equally better. And yeah, you can always replace coffee with a chai.
So what I understand, and it's very interesting, compounding is the biggest hit. Gitanjali, to you. So as both Aparna and Krishna, they have said that compounding is the biggest hit. How can you implement a storytelling or human connections mixed to make compounding more, more beyond mathematical? Because what I realize, compounding is matlab mathematics, returns. How can you build a human connections, or how can you involve some more interactive storytelling to make compounding more and more, adaptable?
I don't know anybody. I just don't know anybody who's experienced compounding in Excel sheets. I think compounding is experienced in habits, in stories, it's experienced in relationships, in careers. If I had to actually ever share a story on compounding, it goes way back 25 years when my sister invested in an SIP and she didn't do anything about it. She just sat pretty, and 25 years later, it's 25 lakhs, right? So it's about sometimes such experiences that make you understand the concept of compounding. And that's where storytelling comes into play, when you get such concepts, marry them into human outcomes, right? You have, for example, the dignity in retirement. Okay, it is about the freedom to say no. It is about education choices that you make. That's when the trust gets built. That's why the question that I ask my investment advisor, kitna return aayega? No. I actually go out and ask, I'm okay, right? I will do well. I'm all right. I'll make my dream come true. So it's not about when compounding is about making your money grow fast. It's about shrinking your anxiety levels dramatically. That's when you feel compounding. So I think that's a storyteller's perspective.
So do you mean compounding is more for purpose rather than a number?
Yes, a mix of both, but yes, it has to have a purpose.
Krishna, to you once again. If you have to take 2C out of this 3C, you have coffee, code, and compounding, which one combinations of 2C is most important? And I think anybody of you can answer that, but my question is to you.
Yeah, I'll prefer coffee and compounding as a 2C, which I would like to retain. The other C possibly has become a little bit of a commodity in this new world, in the sense that data is abundant. It's available on anybody's and everybody's app. Whichever app you open, you exactly know what sort of return, what sort of, comparison charts, 5-year, 10-year, 20. So I'll prefer, the coffee and compounding combination.
Aparna, you?
I will go with, coffee and code. For me, code is, if you flip it, code is what do you envision when somebody or maybe an engineer is writing a code? What is she doing? She is stating a problem and she is finding answers in small decisions. So there is a decision tree. If you do this, you will reach here, and if you don't reach here, what is the alternative? So I think code, if you think about it, not in the mundane way of code, but if you think about a discipline or a combination of having a smaller decision made to reach the goal, then code is also important. You need an energy and you need discipline of those smaller decisions to reach the destination is what I feel is important. Compounding is an outcome. If you follow the code and the coffee, a compounding will be outcome. Yeah.
Bhave, sir?
Yeah. I will also go with coffee and code because many of us may not be great at communication. So storytelling becomes very important. And today AI gives you storytelling also. It makes nice stories for you. So actually coffee and code is the best combination. And if we excessively bring into conversation the compounding part, the biggest problem is the common man says, oh, if Trump puts the tariff, to kya hoga? If Corona starts, to kya hoga? And those questions are really, one can take extreme stand. So it's good to focus coffee with a code-based storytelling used so that we can plan ourselves well. In fact, I have requested Alpaji to arrange a training on AI for mutual fund distributors. So I'm sure she will consider my request. But coffee and code, yes, they will take, and like she rightly said, compounding should follow.
Suranjana?
I think coffee is the basic, so that definitely has to be part of the entire.
Just because we like coffee, it's like it has to be common. No code and
Yes, no,
compounding.
Because
Because everybody is a coffee teller.
we like coffee and it's an habit. So investment is an habit.
So by default, coffee. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think coffee is definitely part of it, but I really think compounding, like, what he was mentioning, a lot of times you see that investors and maybe to an extent even the distributors, that, we are looking at new ideas always. That, what is a new, most happening thing which is coming up. So in the process, you are chasing. And when the chasing happens, you are essentially trying to a lot of times also time things. कि अभी से यहाँ से ये अच्छा होगा तो आपको वो कॉल लेना है और बहुत बार वो कॉल सही नहीं भी होता है, एंड इन द प्रोसेस आप अपनी जर्नी को डिस्टर्ब करते रहते हो, तो कंपाउंडिंग हो ही नहीं पाता है. मुझे लगता है किसी भी इन्वेस्टमेंट जर्नी में शायद कंपाउंडिंग सबसे ज़्यादा बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है, इवन दो इट्स द लीस्ट टॉक्ड अबाउट मे बी. सो आई फील दैट्स द कॉम्बिनेशन.
Gitanjali?
An overdose of all three.
Oh, no, but you have to choose 2 out of 3.
Compounding.
And?
Compounding.
Oh, so compounding and compounding. So my next question is to all of you, because we'll slightly running paucity of time, so we'll have to complete in 2. So we already have code, compounding and coffee. If I have to ask you the 4th C, which act as a pillar, out of this compliance, capital and collaborations, which would act as a complement to 3C already established? Compliance, capital and collaborations. The 4th C. Gitanjali, you want to add?
Collaboration.
To my mind, definitely compliance. If you are talking of compounding, if you are talking of long-term journey, without compliance, today's thing will never survive 20 years later or 10 years later. So I think compliance has to be there for the long term. And this applies to the entire industry. I think it applies to, a lot of times, we are not talking about the non-compliant part of the industry and we just overlooking it, but it's probably one of the most important things for a long-term journey.
Bhave, sir?
Rumit-ji, I didn't expect you to ask such tough questions, because it's a very tough question to say compliance or capital or collaboration. If there is no compliance, we know that some of the funds have fizzled out. So it becomes like a risk taking. So obviously compliance has a great value. When it comes to capital, one Ambani and Adani starts mutual fund, then we know what happens suddenly. So that's also critical. And since morning you have been holding collaboration. So in nutshell, since the audience sitting here are mostly individual MFDs or maybe small partnerships, for our perspective, I would always recommend collaboration to be the first choice because capital getting.
But again, out of these three C, which one C?
I mean, for this audience, collaboration.
Okay. Aparna?
I'll go with compliance because compliance has multiple levels. Compliance is whether you yourself are compliant, whether the mutual fund is compliant, whether you are compliant to the investor's needs is also an important factor to look at. I think that is the most important in my view.
So, with the permission to deviate, I'll choose conviction again. So that's something, very seriously required as a part of those other three pillars. Otherwise, I'll go with compliance.
Super. So my next question is only to these three ladies. We have been rejoicing on the data recently that 21.5% of investors in mutual funds is women. What are we doing or what would be your propositions to make it 50%? Because that's when the time when we talk about equality happens at 50-50. So what are your take on, or how do we reach to a level of 50% women also? So out of every 100 investors, 50 is women.
Yeah, when I just glance through this whole room, I can count the number of women on my fingers. So, that's a big story to tell by itself, that we need to encourage the participation. But I think one message is that if we widen the role of what the woman can bring to the table, you'll widen the participation. And I think we have many examples in front of us, whether it is medicine, it is technology, or it is aviation. You had a mere 10 to 15% participation from women in those industries. It's only when they started making the role, redesigning the role, only when they revisited the life stages at which women can come back. It's only when they figured out that there is another chance that you can give a re-entry to the women, is when you can expect more participation from the women folk. So I think when you widen, I'm repeating, when you widen the role that the woman can bring to the table, what she can do is when you can widen the participation.
I think this is the first panel we have majority as a women, so we should clap for it. All this while, so Ranjana, what we need to do as a community to bring 50% investors as women?
Yeah, I think one thing I always notice कि investments में women investors बढ़ रहे हैं, लेकिन उनका खुद का decision नहीं होता है, decision हमेशा कोई और ले रहा होता है, तो उसके लिए शायद conversation में to include the women in the conversation, because I hear this from a lot of women MFDs actually, that when they are talking to the family, they make sure that they're talking to the family, and it's not just the man of the house that is taking the decision or is part of the conversation. I think that's very important. Maybe for all the men to also include everyone at home in the conversations of money. That is probably very important. And the other part is probably also for women to come forward and, I keep hearing this from so many women, so many friends that finance mera nahi hai job. Job though, well, this is not the part that I am good at. I am not good at math, so I can't do it. That is absolutely the wrong notion carried, and somewhere if all of us can help the women think that investing is not about math, investing is lot of other things, and women always have certain attributes which make them good investors.
And I resonate with you, Suranjana, because in my family also, my advisor often speaks to my wife, and she's a doctor. She earns more than I earn. But he never goes beyond me to consult investments with my wife. Yeah. And that's observations for my side. How many times are you talking to your client's wife when it comes to investment decisions? Aparna, what are your suggestions?
Yeah, I think I am little better at maths, so I'll put it in a mathematical way. Uh, I think for 100% of men, women are responsible, isn't it? Okay. So if that 78% men MFDs, if they, kind of become little more responsible to the just 21.5% female, which needs to be at least added equal amount, maybe 23, 24% additional female lady MFDs to the workforce. I think if you are able to take some responsibility, that will be easier. Responsibility again will be at multiple levels, shouldering the house responsibility to financial responsibility will be there. Another thing which I feel is that it's just, passing phase. I think in next few years, we will see much better participation by female or lady MFDs in this forum. And people like Alpa are doing really wonderful job. I think we have to just respond to those efforts in a better way. As an organization, as a mutual fund, the Wealth Company Mutual Fund has also initiated a new initiative, MFDD, which is also towards helping, those willing ladies to come up to this noble industry and start participating. I think it's a journey, and maybe in next 5 years, this question will be irrelevant.
Brilliant. So just last questions to Gitanjali and Bhave sir. The way technology is expanding and the way we are talking about AI, code, next 20 years, how do you think human relations will remain relevant compared to technology-driven communications? Gitanjali, if you want to.
I think AI is here to complement humans, and AI can help us automate decisions, but humans can deliver the trust, right? So I don't think that we're competing with each other. I think we're complementing each other, and at the end of the day, AI can help you with dashboards and analytics and make sure that your portfolio reconstruction happens most efficiently, your asset allocation is rebalanced, your risk profiling is done great. But I think at the end of it, humans probably understand how to handle fear, anxiety, trust, and I think that somehow cannot be delivered by AI, right? So it's about humans using AI to be able to give a proper understanding to their customers about, what is happening. But I think addressing the fear, the anxiety is something that AI can never help us do, right? That's something that we have to do it together with the humans.
So it's AI and human?
Yes.
It's not AI or human?
Not at all.
Bhave sir?
Actually, I can give a pleasing answer that human is most important and human relations are most important. AI will be, more of a tool and that kind of thing. But won't be surprised that if another 3 years later, the participants will be all robots here, AI robots. Okay, don't be surprised with that also. So there is a way, in the process of becoming little emotional, we should not underestimate AI, is my rather feeling. And therefore, human relations are very important. Without that, you cannot win the customer. But then if you have to find out what somebody said as share of valid theory, then obviously AI can generate you the information. And when we were talking about women, I didn't get that question to answer. But this event is organized by Alpaji. The first speaker was Madhu madam. And here 3 powerful women are sitting. If we keep aside moderator, then I don't know, at least this statistics is a little doubtful, 21.5%. I will put SIR on this, okay. But maybe it is a Mumbai bias statistics. But I would say human has a huge importance, but finally it is going to be AI with human.
Brilliant. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I think the outcome is very clear, whether it is coffee, code, compounding, compliance, capital, and collaborations is equally important. And as a community, we need to empower women and the Gen Z. because they are also a very important influencer and decision maker in our journey. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we invite Alpa? No. We are ahead of time? Yes. No. You overshot by 15 minutes.
May I request Alpa to take Suranjana? Gitanjali? Miss Aparna? Mr. Sanghvi? Bhave sir? And last but not the least, Mr. Romit Bara.
भावे सर ने मित्तल जी और अंबानी के साथ पर्सनली काम किया हुआ है एंड आई थिंक इट्स अ वेरी वेरी प्राउड थिंग फॉर ऑल ऑफ अस.
Mr. Romit Bara. अल्पा जी आपको इमेज चेंज करनी पड़ेगी. जिसको देखो आपको दीदी बुला रहा है. We would like to
Thank you so much, panelists.